Hello everybody, it is Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome to my Yugioh VRains Ending 1 breakdown. Now, I did a breakdown and in-depth analysis, I guess you could call it, for the first opening, so if you want to check out that video, definitely check that video out. And in that video, I talked about how we got some more information regarding the characters in Yugioh VRains, at least some of the relationships between characters, and we're actually going to start with that. I said I'd cover that at the end of that video. I was going to do the opening and ending in one video together. I decided not to because it would probably be like a 25-minute video, and I'd rather do two like 10-minute videos than one really long 25-minute video. So I'm going to talk about the information about the characters that came out, the relationships they have with each other. This article will be linked down below. It's about 2 days old. I think it came out Wednesday afternoon. So it might not be new to you guys, but if it is new to you, that's awesome. And I do want to hear all your thoughts on this down below. If you just want to skip to where I analyze the ending and some of the scenes and pictures we get in the ending, I will have the timestamp for that in the description. So let's begin. We got this picture. Here are some of the relationships. Yusaku, Naoki, and Aoi are confirmed as classmates, and Akira is listed under Soul Technologies. Kusanagi and Yusaku's relationship is confidence. I looked that up, and that word basically just means like confidential. They trust each other with pretty much everything. So very good friends, best friends you could even say. Maybe from Yusaku's standpoint, the only friend he has, because we don't know if he has any kind of family life, and just based on that first episode, it just seems like he kind of keeps to himself. So Kusanagi could really be Yusaku's only friend in Yugioh VRains, at least at the moment. I'm sure that's going to change by the end of VRains. Yusaku is indifferent to Naoki. Naoki considers Yusaku unpleasant. So I wonder if that's just because of the first episode. We know Naoki is in love with Playmaker, who is also Yusaku. So it's at least it's a situation where Yusaku doesn't really care about Naoki. It's not like he dislikes Naoki. So that means that as long as Naoki kind of comes around and just starts to deal with Yusaku, maybe those two are going to be good friends. I think those two will be friends because even though, yes, Naoki at the moment considers Yusaku unpleasant, the opening one begins with Naoki chasing Yusaku down and waving at him and smiling and trying to get his attention. And that just speaks to me that Naoki is going to make an effort to become friends with Yusaku, even though at the moment he might think he's a bit unpleasant. So that'll be a very, hopefully humorous and well-developed relationship and friendship between Yusaku and Naoki. The mysterious life form Ignis is Yusaku's partner. Yusaku is trying to use Ignis as a bargaining chip / hostage, which he successfully does to stop the knight from, destroying everything in the first episode and dueling him in the first episode. So that is the first kind of confirmation we've gotten that Ignis is Yusaku's partner. We know based on the opening, I'm not going to get too into it, but in the opening analysis that I did yesterday, there was a lot of symbolism with colors, and the colors of these kind of birds in the beginning match the colors of the AIs we saw in the first episode. Yusaku turned green, even though I would have thought his symbol would have been more purple. This right here at the moment confirms that Ignis, the purple AI, is Yusaku's partner, so that's just going to be an interesting thing to keep your eye on. Ignis is on the run from Soul. He slipped out from Soul Technologies' fingers. Akira and Aoi are brother and sister. So nothing much new there. But then we go into Link VRains, and all these characters kind of get different profiles and different relationships with each other. It's interesting because in Link VRains, that's when the Knights of Hanoi become a thing. And that leads me to believe that Revolver, that is kind of his VR form. And maybe someone actually said a pretty interesting theory that the Knights are maybe stuck in Link VRains, and the only way for them to get out is to destroy the Cyberse, which would be kind of an interesting take on it, because then you kind of understand maybe their motivations for why they're doing what they're doing. I still do not believe the Knights, at least Revolver. I could see Spectre taking it over, especially based on that clip we got in the opening, where it seems like he's leading the entire massive amounts of Knights. I could see Revolver leaving, and then Spectre maybe taking it over and becoming more evil and becoming more twisted, and that's when the Knights become a real threat. They're already kind of a threat now, but here's the description. Playmaker has no interest in the Charisma Duelists, but the Charisma Duelists acknowledge Playmaker's skills and talents. So that'll be an interesting, conversation when, assumingly, Yusaku and Go are going to duel in the 4th and 5th episodes. That'll be a really fun duel, hopefully, and that will be an interesting dialogue, especially because Yusaku does not have any interest in Go, but we know Go, from Go Onizuka's personal description, he has interest in the Playmaker, so that'll be an interesting duel. The mysterious life form Ignis is Playmaker's partner. Same line, just they switched Yusaku and Playmaker. And then here is the very interesting one that I touched on last video. Akira is aware of Blue Angel's true identity. That to me is the most interesting thing out of all these like mini sentences. So Akira Zaizen knows his sister is the Blue Angel, and we know that from Aoi's perspective, she wants to confess to her brother that she is a duelist. So from Aoi's perspective, she does not know that Akira knows that she's Blue Angel. And if Akira was, you would imagine, proud of that, or if Akira respected that, he probably would have said something to her by now. So I can only imagine the conversation where she finally gets the courage, because she does not seem like a very confident person, especially in the real world. Every shot we've gotten of her, she doesn't look angry, she doesn't look like distant, she genuinely looks upset. Every shot we've gotten of her, she looks upset, she looks concerned. So I'd imagine almost like a last-ditch effort to finally prove herself to her brother is to tell him that she is Blue Angel. And in her mind, she probably thinks that's all she has to say in order to gain his respect. He already knows it. And it seems like he's not really going to care about it. And that is going to be such an interesting conversation that I hope happens soon. I could see this maybe happening in the 4th episode. I think the next 2 are going to be focused on Yusaku and the knight dueling, and I'd imagine Akira will be heavily watching that duel. So I could see the 4th episode, maybe for the first half, some more kind of dialogue. Maybe the first half will be all dialogue, and then the second half will be Yusaku and Go starting to duel. And I could see that's when maybe they show a quick scene of Aoi and Akira talking, and we get to really have our first look at Aoi Zaizen, because we have not seen Aoi yet in her real-life form. So that is going to be a very, very interesting scene when Aoi does finally confess to Akira that she is Blue Angel, even though Akira already knows. So that is a very interesting piece of information. Soul and the Knights oppose one another. Playmaker and the Knights oppose one another. Ignis is on the run from Soul. Both Soul and the Knights are searching for Ignis. Ignis is a threat to the Knights of Hanoi, mainly because he can reinstate the Cybers, you would imagine. So that is all the information we've gotten from this new info drop, which was a really cool thing to kind of like show off all the different relationships, and I'd imagine we will have that kind of Akira Aoi scene sooner rather than later. But we're going to begin with the ending. The ending starts showing Ignis in Yusaku's duel disc, kind of like waking up and looking around, and then we see the data wind. It reminds me a lot. So many people have compared it to Sonic Riders. This literally is if Sonic Riders met Yu-Gi-Oh! Like the turbulence and everything, it looks so similar. It's like the funniest thing in the world. Then we see a scene of Yusaku looking up, very similar to Close to You. We also get Playmaker in the background. We get a picture of Go. He's going to be like a wrestler figure, so this doesn't really surprise me. We get a picture of Aoi looking at herself as Blue Angel. She looks obviously much happier as Blue Angel. Then we see a picture of Emma. We get an image of Yusaku. It's very quick. We get an image of Yusaku and the mysterious AI. And this is interesting because right now the AI is trapped in Yusaku's duel disc. This might hint that the AI is going to become maybe his own person again. He's going to get his own body back at some point, which you kind of would imagine, and he's riding on Yusaku's shoulders, and this is maybe the only image besides the very end of this ending that we see Yusaku smiling. The only times we have seen Yusaku smiling is in this image and at the image at the very end when he's kind of looking over the city. But between the first picture of him where it had the like Close to You vibes and the kind of neon light city where they're looking up at him from the ground, and then the ending where he's looking over the city similar to what Yusei did in 5Ds, this show is just, really reminding me so much of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. We get an image here, and it's interesting. Revolver and Spectre. Spectre is front and foremost, and I'm really starting to believe that Spectre is going to become the main boss of the Knights when Revolver leaves. You have Revolver looking off into the distance, you have Spectre looking at the camera, and if you had to tell me which one of their faces just appears to be more evil, I think 90% of people would say Spectre. And so, again, kind of minor symbolism here that Spectre is in front of Revolver. I still just really believe that he is going to take over the Knights at some point. The next scene is a scene of Kusanagi looking down at, I'd imagine, a computer, looking, not really, he looks a little concerned. He looks more like angry than concerned, I'd say. So they zoom in very close to his face, and then we have a picture of Akira's shadow, maybe looking off. This is obviously where he interacts with Bishop, whatever room this kind of is. It's honestly a creepy room, because in the first episode they showed just how long this room is, and that darkness extends so far down. Just a very weird room, and you have to imagine if Akira walks 5 feet closer, he's dead. I mean, this room is just, I don't know, this room creeps me out, honestly. The fact that it can, like, show off different images and stuff, and show off huge chess pieces, and this is where, like, Akira contacts probably the head of the department. I don't know, something is just weird about this room, but we also see Akira looking kind of angry, kind of annoyed. I mean, I don't think he's going to be evil, but he's going to be that douchey security guy, and the whole thing reminds me a lot of Jean-Michel Raget. There was a great edit I saw on Twitter of someone put Raget from Arc 5, his head on the chess piece, and it's like, I wonder, I guess this is where the wormhole took Roger. But moving on, we see the AI, we see Yusaku, then we see Yusaku closing his eyes, opening his eyes in the real world. We see him doing the same thing in the VR world, and at first I thought that was the school in the background. I don't really think it's the school. I think it's just maybe a random building. Kusanagi, this is where we get a lot of quick scenes. We see Kusanagi looking up in an alleyway, and it's just interesting because every scene we got of Kusanagi was kind of, I guess it's just the theme of the show that there's really not anything to be happy about, right? Kusanagi lost his younger brother. He clearly has a bone to pick with whatever group took his younger brother away, if he can even remember. But this scene reminds me a lot of the shark scene from opening 1, where he was sitting down in an alley. And I just wonder if Kusanagi is maybe going to turn sides and turn on Yusaku. Now, I haven't seen that theory around. A few people did comment it on my last video, to be fair. No one is really discussing that Kusanagi, because they're best friends right now, that he might stab Yusaku in the back, especially if he learns about what happened in the past, if he doesn't remember, and Yusaku had something to do with his younger brother's disappearance. It's just every scene we see Kusanagi in is a dark, grim scene. At least with Yusaku, we see him smiling in a couple of scenes. But Kusanagi in the opening, he's eating the hot dog, he looks discontent. In the ending, he's got 2 scenes where he's looking at the computer and he looks irritated, and then this scene he's in the alleyway, and it just reminds me a lot of that shark scene from opening 1, where a lot of people will say that foreshadowed that Shark was going to become evil. So again, same writer too, Yoshida. We see Revolver smiling, then we see Aoi and clearly her brother in the background. She's looking at her brother. She probably is thinking at this point about, how do I tell him I'm Blue Angel? And when she tells him she's Blue Angel, he's not really going to care because he already knows, and clearly that really doesn't mean anything to him. I cannot wait for that interaction. Then we see Naoki, the man, doing 2 thumbs up to the camera. I mean, I guess he's the only one that realizes this ending is being recorded, and he's sending us off in a very positive way. We see the AI, and we see Yusaku's dual disc. Then we see the end of 5Ds, where Yusaku is looking over the city. This is the scene where he has the biggest smile on his face, and he's smiling at the sunset. And wouldn't it be really cool if this is like the final, or one of the final scenes of Yugioh VRains, and they kind of hinted at it this far in advance? I don't think they would do that, but it just reminds me a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's ending scene. So there's not too much to go in depth with the ending. I read you the new character relationships as well, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave all your thoughts and theories down below. I'm trying to think about videos. The next video might be on Tuesday. It might be the episode 3 cast list, unless we get some more info over the weekend, or maybe I'll make a discussion video over the weekend. So thank you guys so much for watching. It's been an awesome week. Great way to kick off the Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains era. Have an amazing day. Also, TGIF, thank God it's Friday. Enjoy your weekend. I will talk to you guys down below. Thank you for watching.